Hi there friends and welcome. I think we'd all agree that as the years roll by, many of us feel more grateful for each passing day, more confident in our decisions, and more able to make better choices about how to spend our time. But it's also a time when we notice quite a few more physical changes. In fact, we may sometimes notice so many changes in our hair, eyes, and skin that we may wonder what isn't changing. Well, frankly, I'm a little bit in awe of how my eyebrows seem to become more and more invisible each day. But one thing I continue to be grateful for are some of the amazing beauty products today that can help us live our best life. So today, in part one of this series, we'll focus on what we can do to solve 6 of our biggest beauty problems after 50. Thank you so much for stopping by if this is your first time visiting this channel, and a warm welcome back to those of you who are already part of this family. My mission as an over 60 makeup artist is to celebrate and support our midlife and beyond journey by focusing on the makeup tips, techniques, and products that help us best address the changes that we are experiencing. And we occasionally also dip our toes into the worlds of fashion and wellness. But now, let's dive into today's topic. The first problem we'll be focusing on today is how our hair is changing. As the density of our hair decreases, it can appear thinner. It can also fall out more easily and be replaced with finer hair that looks duller and feels drier, especially during the winter when we're indoors with forced air heat. So I want to share with you today 3 products that I've found that have made a really big difference in how my hair looks. And as always, I'll include links to all of the products I'll be talking about today in the description box below, as well as in the YouTube shopping links, which you'll find under the video. Now, unfortunately, not all the products can be linked through YouTube shopping, but all of them will definitely be linked in the description box. The first hair product is from Mielle Organics, and it's their Rosemary Mint Scalp and Hair Strengthening Oil. It's a nutrient-rich, intensive formula which helps nourish hair follicles, smooth split ends, and helps with our dry scalp. It's also infused with biotin and includes more than 30 essential oils and extracts. You can apply a small amount daily and comb it through the hair, or you can apply it and leave it on for 10 minutes or more and then rinse it out. I like to apply this product once a week as a treatment and then also apply a second product called Ra's Willow Glen Treatment Oil. This product deeply moisturizes the scalp and hair, and if you color your hair, it also protects the color from fading. It can be used weekly or anytime your hair or scalp is feeling dry. When I apply it each week, I leave it on for a minimum of 10 minutes and then rinse it out. And quite honestly, I was a little nervous about applying an oil on my hair, but even though it is an oil, it rinses out really easily after shampooing and there's no buildup. Using both of these products has resulted in my hair definitely looking much softer and shinier. The third hair product I use is a wiglet. This particular one is from Paula Young, and there are many different versions and sizes of it depending on what area of your head you want to cover and how large an area you wish to cover. It's quick and easy to put on by just pressing the small attached combs into your hair. And I love the fact that when I'm having a particularly challenging hair day, I can whip it quickly out and it adds some needed volume to my thin hair. And I'm going to go ahead and put it on right now. It has 4 different combs and 3 of them are in the back to really give you a good grip. So I'm going to put it on starting in the back. Make sure all those are attached and then bring in the front combs. And I'm not taking a lot of time to adjust this as I normally would, but I think you can get a picture of how much it helped the volume of my hairs. Now, of course, you can pull it further forward or move it further back, depending on what your particular needs are. Now, one thing I haven't used for hair growth is a laser therapy tool. So if any of you have used this type of tool and found it helpful or found any other hair product or tool to be helpful, please do share your experience with us in the comment section below. Now, let's move on to problem number 2, which is eyebrows. Now, many of us may find ourselves wondering, how haven't my brows changed? Perhaps they've gotten sparser, whiter, and grayer as mine have, or maybe you've lost the brow tails or brow hairs at the front of your brows, or perhaps a combination of these things. The 3 products that I've found to be absolute lifesavers, or in this case, brow savers, are these: an eyebrow stencil, products that have built-in fibers to add volume to the brows, a brow gel that effectively covers gray and white brow hairs, and products that are specifically made for those of us with gray and white brow hairs. A stencil can help us in 3 different ways. First, it allows us to more quickly fill in our brows because it gives us a pattern to follow. Second, it helps assure that our brows match each other. And third, since these stencil kits come with many different shaped brow stencils, we can find one that is not only close to our own brow shape, but also one that can enhance our brow shape. For instance, I don't have much of an arch to my brows, but since an arch can help our eyes look even more lifted, I like using a brow stencil that's close to my eye shape, but which also has a slightly arched shape for my brows. The type of stencil I recommend is one that has an elastic band that goes around the head, so we have both hands free. Using a stencil like this will assure that our eyebrows look the same. If we use a single stencil on just one eye, no matter how careful we are, we often end up holding it at a slightly different angle when we go to fill in the other eyebrow. I'm going to go ahead and put on this stencil and fill in my brows using my NYX Micro Brow Pencil and my ABH Brow Powder. Now, of course, one thing you always want to do is do your brows before your hair, as you'll see when I take this off. So I'm going to adjust it just so it fits the bottom part of my brows. And that's because this brow shape is a little too thick for my brows, so I don't want to go all the way up. But I do want to have a guideline for tracing out the bottom part of my brows. I'll make sure this is even. And then I'm just going to trace along the bottom with my brow pencil and then trace slightly below the edge of the stencil here. Do you, like me, always find it more difficult to do one brow than the other? I think it's because we have to reach across, and it's always this brow that's trickier for me to do. So you can see I've just created a pattern outline, and now I'm going to fill it in with my ABH brow powder. But I don't want to put this pencil away yet because I do want to use the spoolie on the other end when I'm finished. I love the fact that the ABH brow powder has 2 different colors. I usually start off with a lighter color and then fill in a little bit more with the deeper color. I also love this brow pencil. It's relatively new. It's from Doll 10, and what I like about it is it's somewhat thicker and it allows me to do my brows more quickly. So I'm filling in with the lighter color. And then I'm going to go to the slightly deeper color. I do want to make sure to get to the very tail end. Now, some of you may prefer to use eyebrow pomade, which is a cream, or the brow pencils and put in individual lines for brow hair. Or they're also wonderful pens that really do a very good job of very finely being able to draw in individual brow hairs. And the best one is actually from NYX. Then the important thing is to take a spoolie and go back over the brows. You can tell the difference between this brow where I have used a spoolie and this brow where I have not. So let me do this brow so they look pretty even. And I think most of you probably know the trick of determining where our brows should start and where they should stop. But just in case there are a few of you who don't know that, let me quickly show you. So you want to go along the outer edge of your nose, the inner corner of your eye, and where your thin pencil lands is where they should start. And then the most important thing is to determine where they should end, especially if we've lost some of those brow hairs at the tail end of our brow. So you go on the outer edge of your nose, the outer corner of your eye, and that's where your brow should end. The only exception to this is if you have downturned eyes, you want to end your brow a little bit sooner. Otherwise, your brows will make your eyes look even more downturned. I can use this next eyebrow product on top of the brow powder that I normally use, but my favorite way to use it is just on its own. It's e.l.f.'s Wow Brow, which contains added fibers that can help our brows look fuller. And it comes in 4 different shades. Benefit also makes a product like this called Gimme Brow, which is really good as well, but it is more expensive. I'm going to take the brow powder off one of my eyes so you can see what my brow looks like with just the e.l.f. Wow Brow product on it. Now I have a lighter color, which I'll start with, and usually I'll start toward the middle because that's where I want most of the product, and then I'll fill in and go toward the front and the back. I think these are only $4. I'm gonna have to check on that. I'll let you know. And now I'm taking the deeper color and I'm going to apply that over it. Now, of course, this doesn't create as precise a brow look, but it definitely fills them in. And you can also lift your brow hairs too if you want to do that. That makes them look a little bit more voluminous as well. I think you can see what a pretty incredible job this does. And it's especially helpful if you're in a rush to head out the door. What's interesting about our white and gray brow hairs is that they have a different texture from our original brow hairs. Because they've lost melanin pigment, which keeps them flexible, our brows become coarser, sometimes slightly thicker, and can be wiry because they're more prone to dryness. Because of these changes, not all pigmented brow gels will adhere to those white and gray hairs. A number of months ago, I actually did a video where I tested a whole array of brow gels to see how effectively they covered white and gray brow hairs, and found only 2 that really worked. And one of the 2 was from the drugstore. It's Maybelline's Brow Fast Sculpt Gel Mascara. And the brush is designed in a unique way which allows for detailed application. It's designed with a small, fine, and densely packed bristle head to precisely shape individual brow hairs without them clumping. And as you can see, the bristles are long on one side to make this product easier to apply. I'm just going to barely touch the white and gray brow hairs, and they will adequately be covered. For those of us with white and gray brow hairs who want to use a gray eyebrow pencil or powder, it's been notoriously hard to find them. Very few makeup companies make products for gray eyebrows. However, there's one company that actually specializes in doing so, and it's called Eye Embrace. They have both brow powders and pencils in 7 different shades of gray, from cool light gray to warm grays to brown gray. So you will definitely be able to find a gray color that will work for your brows. If you're interested in this product, be sure to use the code Elise to get 5% off. Now, one other product which can be especially helpful for wiry brows is the flexible lifting gel from Rare Beauty. This clear gel really keeps brow hairs in place. And I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit on this brow. As you can see, it immediately tamed that one that wanted to pop up. And if you want to lift your brow hairs, this is a great product to use to keep them lifted. Now, let's move on to problem 3, which is our eyelids. That evenly colored eyelid of our younger years has gone the way of carbon paper in the card catalog at the library. Our eyelids become more discolored due to sun damage, hyperpigmentation, and thinning skin, which can make parts of our eyelid look darker. And this discoloration makes our eyes look duller and darker, which also makes them look smaller. Covering up eyelid discoloration with makeup helps us look more awake and refreshed, and our eyes look bigger and brighter. The wonderfully easy fix for this problem is an eye primer that is close to the color of our skin tone. There are transparent eye primers, but we definitely want one that has color that will cover up that eyelid discoloration. In addition to covering up discoloration, an eye primer also prevents eyeshadow from creasing or smudging. 3 of the very best eye primers that I've found are Urban Decay's Eye Primer Potion in the matte shade called Eden, Sigma's Stick Eye Primer in either the shade Ignite for a warmer or neutral skin undertone, or the shade Persuade if you have a cool undertone. But my favorite eye primer that has the very best coverage of all is Makeup by Mario's Master Eye Prep and Set Eye Primer. It's a small compact that has 2 slightly different eye primer colors, so you can customize the color for your eyelids. It also contains a translucent powder, which when applied over the cream eye primer makes powder eyeshadow far easier to apply. I'm going to use the Makeup by Mario eye primer on one of my eyes so you can see what a difference it makes. This is the shade Light, and I am going to just tap it on very lightly. You certainly don't want to rub this skin hard because it's so delicate. Now, I'm not only going to put it right on the eyelid, I'm going to go all the way up to my brow. And I have a very prominent vein that shows up here, so I apply a little bit extra over that vein. Just tap it in. Okay, let me show you the difference between these 2 eyes now that I've applied eye primer on this eye. This Makeup by Mario eye primer is on sale at Sephora, and I hope that does not mean it's going to be discontinued. Unfortunately, I think they only have darker shades left, but I think you can still find it at most Kohl's stores. As you can see, I have a brand new one. I ran out to Kohl's to get one, but I may have to get another one. Problem 4 deals with some other changes to our eye area, specifically our eyes becoming more hooded and looking smaller. The loss of elasticity and thinning skin in the eyelid results in eyelids sagging, looking puffy, having wrinkles, or looking crepey. And to counteract this, we want to open up our eyes so they look bigger. The products that I recommend to do this are 2 wonderfully handy and convenient small eyeshadow palettes. The first one is e.l.f.'s I Love You a Latte palette, which costs $3. And the second is Natasha Denona's Mini Eye Sculpt eyeshadow palette, which has 1 additional shade and costs $27. Both are all matte palettes, which contain a range of light to dark neutral colors, as you saw. And those colors work for all of us, no matter what our eye color. I have absolutely loved and used the e.l.f. I Love You a Latte palette ever since it first came out. But because my eyes seem to have developed a sensitivity to some of the ingredients in this eyeshadow palette, today I'm going to use the Natasha Denona palette. Rather than applying a dark color across our entire eyelid, which most of us did too in our 20s and 30s, I'll apply the lightest color across my eyelid, which will make my eyes look bigger, since light colors bring things forward, which makes them look larger. This shade's going to go all the way across the lid, right up to the crease. I'm also going to put a very small amount right in the arch of my brow, which really helps lift the eyes just ever so slightly. Now in the crease, I'll combine and apply the next 2 lightest shades. And since my eyes are hooded, I'm going to apply these 2 combined colors not only in the crease, but also slightly above the crease so it will show up. And by bringing the shade above the crease, I'm also increasing the footprint of the eye, which makes my eyes look larger. I'm using these next 2 lightest colors. And my favorite brush absolutely is my Sigma E25, which just fits this crease area perfectly. Now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to bring this straight out rather than following the curve of my eye downward. And I do that because that helps lift the eye area as well. I start in the middle of my crease because I have the most product on my brush at that point, and then I go inward when I have just a smaller amount of product on my brush. Once again, I'm going to go straight across. Next, I'm going to take the deepest brown shade and pat it on the outer part of my crease and the outer part of my lid. Now, actually, I could just leave my eyes looking this way, but I just want to take it a little bit deeper to give my eye look a little bit more oomph and a little bit more drama. I'm going in with this deeper brown shade, but I think I'm also going to mix it with the deepest shade to the right of it. And I'm going to go to this angle brush just to pat it on the outer part of my eyelid. And since I have deep set eyes, this angle really helps me get into the crease area. Now normally I always do my eye makeup first because no matter how careful you are, you always get fallout. And although I can't see any, I know some is there. And then the most important part is to blend. I make sure I blend the eyelid area as well as the crease area. And always when I think I'm done blending, I go back in and I blend some more. You can never overdo blending, and it makes such a positive difference. And the one thing I always like to do is take the brush that I used with the lightest color and just go around the edges. That makes a big difference too in making sure that there's just a slight gradient of color going upward toward the brows. And I also want to tap it into the area where the light color met the darker color, just so there's no line of demarcation. Then I like to slightly tilt my head back just to check to see if I have the same amount of shadow on each eye. And I think I still need to blend this one in a bit. Now I'm going to apply the same colors on the outer third under my bottom lashes and bring it up to meet the other colors. By using these same colors on the lid as well as under the lashes, it really makes the entire look appear more cohesive. First I'm combining these two medium colors, and then I'll go with the deeper brown color. And just gonna go on the outer third and then make sure it joins the upper part. And I'm going slightly deeper on the very outer corner. Before we move on to our next problem, which is problem 5, I hope you'll take a moment to give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying it and finding it helpful, so YouTube will also know. And I hope you'll also tap that subscribe button if you aren't already part of our family here. We would love to have you join us. Now, problem 5. Most of us have probably also noticed that applying eyeliner has gotten a bit trickier with the passing years, since the texture of our eyelids has changed, and possibly our vision has changed as well. I know mine has. That's why I highly recommend these 3 products: a magnifying mirror or magnifying glasses, or both, a gel eyeliner that glides across the eyelids easily, and an angled eyebrow brush like this one. The eyeliner that I highly recommend has been developed specifically for mature eyes. It's from a company called Revant Cosmetics. I want to thank them for sending me several of their eyeliners to try, which they did a few months ago, and I am so glad they did because I was immediately impressed. They're formulated to be gentle, non-drying, and long-lasting, and they're also ultra smooth and glide on effortlessly without any tugging whatsoever. They deliver a rich pigment that's also smudge-proof and crease-proof. They're made with skin-loving ingredients designed for comfort and come in 6 gorgeous colors. Now, I can certainly apply this eyeliner directly from the applicator, but I personally find it easier to pick up the eyeliner color with my angled eyebrow brush and apply it using the brush. I like applying eyeliner this way because a brush application is absolutely forgiving. You don't have to apply it perfectly because you can simply go back in and blend it in with the brush to create the look that you want. And by the way, if you decide you'd like to try the Revant eyeliners, be sure to use the discount code Elise10 to get a 10% discount. I'm going to use this brown shade. I'm going to go in with my brush and pick up the color on my brush. I want to make sure to get a good amount. And then I'm slightly pulling my lid so it won't be quite as textured. And I'm going as close to those lashes as possible. Now, I don't see very well out of my left eye, so I'm really feeling my way along here. But it does not matter if I make a mistake because I can go back in and brush it in with the brush. And I'm also going to put just a little bit on the outer 1/3 of my eye, bring it up so that the top eyeliner meets the bottom eyeliner. And of course, you can always go back over the eyeliner with the darkest brown eyeshadow to add a little bit more oomph and drama, which is what I did. I also went back in and added a little bit more of the lightest color to my eyelids. And the final problem, which is number 6, that we'll be dealing with today, is the change we experience with our eyelashes. Now, if you feel that your lashes have become thinner, shorter, straighter, and lighter in color, you be absolutely right. That's why mascara can definitely become our very best friend. Just in the last couple of weeks, I've discovered an amazing new mascara, and it's from the drugstore. It's the mascara from the brand new drugstore makeup line Versed, which comes in both brown and black. If you happen to watch the video in early March where I tried this mascara for the first time, you may recall how shocked I was to discover how good it was. What makes this mascara really stand out is that it beautifully lifts, lengthens, and defines our lashes with no clumps whatsoever. It's also water resistant and has an extremely lightweight formula. And what this means is that it not only glides on really easily, but it also doesn't weigh down our lashes, so it's easier for us to curl them. And speaking of curling our lashes, here's an easy way to do it that does not involve using an eyelash curler. Simply hold your index finger horizontally across your lashes immediately after applying the mascara and hold it there until the mascara is dry. And I'm going to tap a small amount of the mascara on my bottom lashes as well. If you'd like more help with either hooded eyes or eyeliner, I think you'll find these additional 2 videos to provide some valuable information. And be sure to watch the upcoming part 2 of this series, where we'll talk about solutions for 6 more of the biggest beauty problems for those of us over 50. And if you'd like some personalized help with your makeup via an online Zoom makeup consultation, all you need to do is drop me a line at boomerandbeyondbeauty@gmail.com, and we can plan a time when we can get together. Until we see each other next time on YouTube, I send you warm wishes for good health and happiness, and I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. Take care.